The sun was setting over the quiet town of Willow Creek, Florida, casting long shadows across the small, unassuming house on Willow Lane. The neighborhood was usually peaceful, the kind of place where kids rode their bikes until dusk and neighbors exchanged pleasantries over white picket fences. But tonight, the tranquility was shattered by flashing red and blue lights as police cars lined the street. Detective Laura Hayes stepped out of her car, her sharp eyes scanning the scene. She had been called to investigate a possible homicide after a neighbor reported hearing gunshots earlier in the day. As she approached the house, she noticed something unusual. A child's pink bicycle lying on its side in the front yard, its handlebars twisted as if it had been abandoned in a hurry. Laura's instincts kicked in. She signaled to her partner, Detective Mike Rivera, and they cautiously entered the house. The air inside was thick with tension, and the faint metallic smell of blood hung in the air. The living room was in disarray, a coffee table overturned, a lamp shattered on the floor. But what caught Laura's attention was a small handprint on the wall, smeared in what appeared to be blood. "We've got a kid involved," Laura muttered, her heart sinking. She followed the trail of blood to the kitchen, where they found the body of a woman lying on the floor. She had been shot multiple times, and her lifeless eyes stared up at the ceiling. Laura recognized her immediately. It was Sarah Mitchell, a 32-year-old single mother who had recently filed a restraining order against her ex-husband Daniel. "Where's the kid?" Mike asked, his voice tense. Laura's mind raced. Sarah had a 4-year-old daughter, Emily, who was nowhere to be seen. The pink bicycle outside, the handprint on the wall, it all pointed to one chilling possibility. Emily had been taken. Laura quickly radioed for backup and issued an Amber Alert. According to Sarah's restraining order, Daniel had a history of violent behavior and had threatened to take Emily if Sarah ever tried to leave him. Laura knew they had to move fast. Every second counted. As the forensic team processed the scene, Laura and Mike began piecing together what had happened. Neighbors reported seeing Daniel's truck parked outside the house earlier that day, and one witness claimed to have heard a heated argument before the gunshots rang out. It was clear that Daniel had come to the house, killed Sarah, and abducted Emily. But where would he take her? Laura thought back to the case file. Daniel had grown up in a rural area about an hour outside of town, near an old hunting cabin that belonged to his family. It was isolated, surrounded by dense woods. A perfect place to hide. Laura and Mike sped toward the cabin, their sirens blaring. As they approached the dirt road leading to the property, Laura's stomach churned with dread. The cabin came into view, its windows dark, and its porch sagging with age. They parked a short distance away and approached on foot, their guns drawn. The door was slightly ajar, and Laura could hear faint sobbing coming from inside. She pushed the door open slowly, her heart pounding. The interior was dimly lit, the air heavy with the smell of mildew. In the corner of the room, huddled under a blanket, was Emily. Her face was streaked with tears, and she clutched a stuffed bunny to her chest. "Emily?" Laura whispered, lowering her gun. The little girl looked up, her eyes wide with fear. "It's okay, sweetheart. We're here to help you." Before Laura could reach her, a voice growled from the shadows. "Don't touch her." Daniel stepped into the light, his face twisted with rage. He held a gun in his hand, its barrel trembling as he pointed at Laura. "Daniel, put the gun down," Laura said calmly, though her pulse was racing. "This doesn't have to end like this. Let Emily go." Daniel's eyes darted between Laura and Mike, his breathing ragged. "She's my daughter. You can't take her from me." "We're not here to hurt you, Daniel," Mike said, his voice steady. "But you need to think about Emily. She's scared. She needs her dad to do the right thing." For a moment, the room was silent except for Emily's quiet sobs. Then, slowly, Daniel lowered the gun. His shoulders slumped, and he sank to his knees, tears streaming down his face. Laura quickly moved to shield Emily, while Mike disarmed Daniel and placed him in handcuffs. As they led Daniel out of the cabin, Laura carried Emily to the patrol car, wrapping her in a blanket. The little girl clung to her, her tiny body trembling. "Is Mommy okay?" Emily asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Laura's heart broke. She held Emily tighter, whispering soothing words as they drove back to town. The truth would come later, but for now, all that mattered was keeping Emily safe. In the days that followed, the community rallied around Emily, offering support and condolences. Laura couldn't shake the image of the little girl's tear-streaked face, a reminder of the innocent lives caught in the crossfire of adult conflicts. As she closed the case file, Laura vowed to do everything in her power to protect children like Emily, to ensure that no child would ever have to endure such pain again. And as the sun rose over Willow Creek, casting its golden light on the quiet streets, Laura hoped that Emily would find the strength to heal one day at a time.